Good morning, Rabotai. Breakfast and the class today is dedicated in loving memory of Selim Moni Dahan Alava Shalom. Leilui Nishmat Shilomo ben Rachel Alava Shalom. Sponsored by Peggy and Morris Dahan and family. Should be Leilui Nishmat Nishmatot Tzurura V'Tzura Hayim, and Hashem should send the family only the best of nechama in everything that they do. Breakfast in the class is also dedicated in thanks to the esteemed rabbis and their staff for taking care of us with their wisdom, guidance, and patience. May they go from strength to strength in keeping our Jewish values and faith strong and unwavering, sponsored by the Mafar family. Hazak Baruch, thank you so much. Rabotai, where do we find Torah in the mention or an allusion to Hanukah in the Torah? So we know that everything that goes on in the entirety of the universe, throughout all of human history, has a place, appears in the Torah in some way, shape, or form. And Hanukah is no different. So where do we talk about Hanukah? Now there's many different answers to this. Some of them a little bit more allegorical than others. You know, as an example, there's many stops that the Jewish people stop in on the way in the desert. If you look at the 25th stop, Chanu, which means they rested. Chanukah, they rested on the 25th. What do you find over there? Where did they stay? They stayed in a place called Chashmonah, right? Which is the Chashmonaim. Hazak Baruch, wonderful. So you see, there's allegorical messages and intimations in the Torah about things that are going to happen in the future, and that's beautiful. However, I'm talking here not about the fact that something was going to take place, but something where the Torah tells you about Chanukah. And for that, we're going to look at Parashat Baha'alotecha. The Pasuk tells us, Vayidaber Hashem Moshe lemor. God speaks to Moshe saying, this is right after they built the Mishkan. Daber el Aaron, speak to Aaron, va'amarta elav, and say to him, Beha'alotecha tanerot, when you raise the nerot, the candles, El mu penei menorah, opposite the menorah, ya'iru shiva tanerot. That's when the lights of the menorah, the 7 candles of the menorah, the Beit HaMikdash, will burn, and they will burn brightly. Rashi starts and asks, and he quotes the words of the Midrash. Rashi says as follows: Lama nismecha parashat menorah leparashat nesiim. We just got finished reading the parashat nesiim, right? The end of parashat Naso. Right, remember that? Yom 12 Yom Nasi Bet Naftali Ahira Benan Korbano Ka'arat Ketzev Achat 30 U'Me'ah Mishkan. You know the bit that we read 12 times in a row, right? The story of the Nesiim. So this story of the Nesiim, where each one gave a korban, each one had a presence in the sanctification of the Mishkan when they opened the Mishkan. Comes the Midrash and says, how come we spoke about the parasha of the Nesiim and then immediately talked about the menorah? Listen carefully, Rabotai. This is gold. Lefi shekishera'a Aharon Chanukat Nesiim. Aaron saw the Chanukat Nesiim. He saw that all of the heads of the tribes, each one gave a korban, and that's how they welcomed the Mishkan into existence. Chalsha da'ato. He felt bad. He felt terrible. In this erection of the Mishkan, of the temple, of the Mizbeach, the bringing, the starting of this new building, Aaron didn't have a part and Levi didn't have a part. So if you read, you see all the Nesiim are there except for Shevet Levi and Aaron. Amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to him, Chayecha, I swear to you, Shelecha gedola mishelahem. Your portion, gedola, is bigger mishelahem than theirs. Shata madlik umetiv tanerot. Because you light and you refine and you clean out, you prepare the nerot of the Mishkan. Now, this is a very cryptic idea. What was the nechama, what was the comfort that Moshe was giving his brother Aharon? Yet they have the korbanot, they have the Nesiim brought that thing, and Levi was excluded, and you weren't a part of it. You feel bad about it. Okay, great, don't worry. You know why? You're lighting the menorah. All the Mefarshim ask, hold on a second. Why then was he saying, you light the menorah? Why doesn't he say, you bring the korbanot? You do the ketoret. You do anything. Anything in the temple is something that they don't do, right? So what is it about the hadlakat nerot that speaks to Aharon and is a comfort for him in the fact that he was left out of the story of the Chanukah Nesiim? And the Ramban writes over there, he says, what are we talking about over here? He said to him effectively, there's going to come a time when your children, your great-grandchildren, Bimei Matityahu ben Yochanan Kohen Gadol, Hashmonai ubanav. Right? He was a Kohen Gadol, Matityahu. Okay? Now, these kids are all from the tribe of Aaron. You're worried that you're not taking part in starting the Mishkan. There'll come a time when it will be only your family. It won't be that you're going to be one of 12 or 13 korbanot. You're going to be the only one. It's going to be dependent and called upon your name. Okay? That's the nechama that Aaron was given. The Ramban says this idea, Atam metiv medliket hanerot, is not that you light the candles in the Mishkan. Aaron had many jobs in the Mishkan that he could have been comforted with. What he was saying is that your thing is going to last forever. They will light candles in memory of the lighting of your grandchildren. They will light that forever. And you're beginning that process now. Rabotai, I saw in this story, in this little kind of snippet of conversation, Shilcha gedolah mishelahem, yours is greater than theirs. I saw in here something very, very powerful. And that is the power of chalishut hadat. The power of feeling bad. You see, one way of looking at this story is that God told Aharon, you know what, don't worry, you have something else. Focus on the positive. Another way of understanding this is that Aharon acquired the zechut. He merited that zechut would belong to him. Why? Because of how badly he felt. Once upon a time, they dedicated the Mishkan. In the future time, they would dedicate temple in a way that we would remember forever and ever and ever and ever. Rabotai, I was thinking a lot about this. You think about the fact that at the time of Chanukah, the Jewish people were being persecuted. What happened? They fought back, and Baruch Hashem, things worked out well. Could you imagine if every time the Jewish people were being persecuted and they were saved, we had a holiday? We would never go to work, Rabotai. Our history is littered with stories. Go through the Nevi'im. Read about the wars where they came in and they were killing them and then they fought back and then they had, peace and then they were right? Sancherev. Where's our holiday for the salvation from Sancherev? Anyone? You guys know that holiday? I don't know that holiday. Do you? No, no such thing, right? That's what he's talking about. So the point over here is that Aharon, when he felt terrible about not being included, he made a monumental shift, in effect, for the Jewish people. He imbued the Jewish people with a power called Chalishut Hadat. Now let me explain a little bit what this means. In the world, if I see someone who has a beautiful car and I feel really bad I don't have it, that doesn't change anything. If I feel really bad that I did something wrong, I feel really bad about it, doesn't change the story. Right? It doesn't change anything. Feeling bad doesn't change things. But in spirituality, it absolutely does. In fact, one of the cornerstones of teshuvah is charata, feeling bad. Now again, I need to express this. It's a very powerful idea. Shlomo HaMelech, when he talks about how the Jewish people, how we miss God, where he coins that terminology, he says, "Ki cholat ahava ani." I'm lovesick. When Hashem is not present in my life, or when I feel disconnected, Or when I feel out of it, or when I go to shul and I'm just not, my prayers are not working, I'm trying to learn Torah, it's just bland, it's not exciting, I'm trying to do the mitzvah, it just feels like another saf, another guy found a way to charge me more money to do something. When I'm not connected, I'm craving those feelings of connection. Anyone here, I'm sure you could tell me that there's a moment in your tefillah on Yom Kippur where you felt the goosebumps. You were praying and you felt such an element of dvekut, of connection, that your soul, it soars into the air. Right? We all know what that feeling feels like when you help someone and the person's eyes are filled with tears of gratitude. They're looking at you. You feel like you're breathing spiritual air, like you're kind of touching another place, another planet. It's a fascinating thing. That experience, Rabotai, comes from the feeling of richuk, of distance, that causes a person to want to draw close. Aaron was blessed with maybe more connection than almost any person that ever lived on the face of the planet. He was the Kohen Gadol, but not a Kohen Gadol. He was the archetype Kohen Gadol. He was the Navi. He was a brother of Moshe Rabbeinu. It says he dies, when Aharon HaKohen dies, he dies mitat nishika. Just the Malach HaMavet comes close to him. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes close to him. Malach HaMavet's not even present. His neshama senses God, and from the amount of closeness of dvekut that he has with God, his neshama just jumps. That's it, chalas, that's his death. Unbelievable. Mitat nishika. God comes close, so to speak, gives him a kiss, and the soul that was once taken from a piece of God, a chelek elokami ma'al, reunifies with God, with God himself. Unbelievable. That's Aaron HaKohen, right? This is such a holy person. But Rabotai, what he gave us was this feeling that if there's something, an element of Kedusha, something that's going on out there, it's a good project, it's a good thing, I want a piece of that. And he felt terrible that he didn't have a piece. Everybody here in this room has maybe a tzedakah that's close to them. Yeah, anyone here, you have a tzedakah that you feel is close to your heart? Yeah, you have someone, yeah, you got something? Everybody's got something. So when their guy comes to town, they want to tell the guy, hey, my guy over here, you don't know his yeshiva, this guy has a mikveh, you don't forget about it. The other guy, he helps orphans, it's the most amazing program. Now, let me be honest with you. The nature of Am Yisrael is that we're such a good people that any tzedakah that you find, that you love, I could find you 10 like it. That's the scary thing, right? It's scary not because it's a bad thing. It's scary because all of these things, they need money. They need to turn the mill, like they say. En kemach en Torah. But for some reason, you were nidlak, maybe because you have a personal relationship with the guy who runs the organization. That's usually what it is. You took a liking to him, he took a liking to you, he shows you his things, now you want to tell everyone about the tzedakah. There's other ones that are just like it, but he's my guy. This is my person, this is my organization. Someone comes and they're asking you for something else, what do you say? My tzedakah is tied up. I'm investing over there. Yeah, you're telling me about yeshiva? You don't know, I have 6 yeshivas I give money to. You want me to tell you about orphan? Have I got an orphan for you? Right? This is amazing. It's a strange thing, but this is the truth. Aharon HaKohen gave us the model where a person could have so much spirituality and not feel that when there was an opportunity for something else to say, I have enough. But he wanted more and more and more and more. Rabotai, the miracle of Hanukah happens because of Halishut Hadat. Because of a person felt bad. At every moment in the Chanukah story, there was a reason why they should not start the rebellion. But there came a moment when Matityahu Kohen Gadol, when they're in Bet HaMikdash, and they come along and they want to sacrifice a pig on the Mizbeach, not only to injure them, but also to add the insult to the injury. And he stands up with his knife on the Mizbeach as if he's going to do the Korban. Right? And then in the last moment, right before, he jumps from the Mizbeach and he starts the rebellion by plunging the knife into the heart of this Greek commander, who'd killed fathers and husbands and wives children, they were hanging children and throwing them off the rooftops. I mean, crazy for doing Brit Milah. In that moment, everything changed. But that came from a feeling, Rabotai. I need to, it's a interesting point, and it's a subtle point I'm trying to make. Oftentimes, the most important things in Judaism are not mitzvot. It's not a piece of Torah that you learned. It's not a mitzvah that you achieve. The most important things in Judaism can be a feeling that you feel. It's an interesting thing, that, isn't it? You know? That chalishut hadat, that moment of anger, of righteous anger that Matityahu felt in that moment, how could it be? How could it be that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's temple is being destroyed, defiled like this? How could it be that someone is running roughshod over the entirety of our people? How could it be that we're being oppressed and repressed? How could such a thing be? It can't be. Now, I always say this. Did Matityahu have a plan? Did they have some sort of strategy? Did they know what they were going to do? Did they have an army behind them? They had nothing. What did he have? What did he have? He had a feeling that was so strong, a feeling that this is so not right, that I have to do something. And that feeling made him do something, even though there was nobody behind him. But I want to point this out, Rabotai. Without that brazen act, would anything have happened? Would anyone have gotten behind him? So the entirety of the story of Hanukah can be traced back to a moment of such a feeling of wanting to do something to rectify that injustice, a desire to change that status quo that was so strong that said, I don't even know what I'm going to do or how I'm going to fix it, but I have to do something. That's the Chalishut Hadat of Matityahu Kohen Gadol. And it came from something that his great-great-grandfather had all that time ago. And Ramban said to him, you want to know where your part in this is? Your part is she'ata madlik umetiv v'tanerot. You light and you prepare the candles. That Chalishut Hadat was poured into the menorah. And many decades later, it would emerge in the great-grandchildren of this man. Rabotai, I'd like to share that story of Aharon and his great-grandchildren is our story as well. Now, the purity of his devotion, the intensity of his emotion resulted in the story of the Chashmonaim. But for us, perhaps our dream is not for our great-grandchildren to lead a rebellion against Russia or, maybe that's not what we dream of. But we do dream about, like Rabbi Sachs used to say, Alav Shalom, will my grandchildren be Jewish? Everybody, according to their definition, if you're not religious at all, you're hoping that your sons, your daughters, your grandchildren all marry Jews. And we think it's a foregone conclusion that that's going to happen if we're in the Syrian community where the numbers are low, or if we're in a Torah community where the numbers are low. We think it's a foregone conclusion. But I keep saying this to people. You know who else thought it was a foregone conclusion that their grandchildren will be Jewish? Our great-grandparents. Go back enough, 3 generations, 4 generations, that guy who's now married to someone who's not Jewish, his great-great-great-grandfather is also your great-great-grandfather. He also thought that it would be okay. Rabotai, how do we protect our generations? We take a page out of Aharon HaKohen's book. You put a feeling into your kids. You make them see how terrible you feel. That, he's connecting with God every second of every day. But there was a mitzvah that came along. And not my family, not my shevet. And we had no part of it. His kids saw how badly he was bothered that he couldn't be part of the mitzvah. You don't have money to give a poor person because you don't have money on you. But there's different ways to say, I don't have money. Isn't there? Sometimes you tell the guy, he. Right? And sometimes you say, Mechila, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. I wish I could help you. such a different ball game. How many times have I got blessings on the streets of New York City? Because some homeless guy, not Jewish people, standing on the street, homeless, some of them drug addicts, no question. They'll ask me for money, and I don't carry money with me anymore. If the guy had a machine, I could tap my phone, give him $1. But I don't carry cash. So I tell him, you say, I'm so sorry, and the blessings I get from homeless people on the street. Wow, God bless you. No worries. So nice of you. For what? To share and to communicate that although I can't do the mitzvah, I wish I could. Your kids see that. You planted a feeling in your children. There's an incredible emotion, excitement when you go to shul. You want to go to shul. Not like, come on, we're late. Let's go. What's going on? What kind of bum? Oh, if you have to get up to go to your friend's house, then you get up on time. But for shul, you never get that. Then that's the feeling you gave to your children about the mitzvah. A feeling of negativity. The opposite, excitement. That's why I always say, that's why I became the candy man in the shul. So that when the kids come to the synagogue, I think as important as a child praying in synagogue is a child having a lollipop in synagogue. Because that lollipop, it takes the place and it turns it into a place that it's sweet. Rabotai, never underestimate the power of feeling. How one Chalishut Hadat from Aaron HaKohen could result in a miracle that we're celebrating in each and every home today. Rabotai, that is the power of feeling. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.